Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today we're going to show you how to make an easy do-it-yourself cooking trivet. So stay tuned. For those of you who don't know, a cooking trivet is something that has three legs, usually made out of metal, obviously because it's going to be sitting in your fire. But basically it is a stand over which to place a cooking pot of some kind. In our particular instance, we're going to be using a frying pan. So let me show you how to make this. I've had this idea on my mind for quite some time. I saw it in a magazine years and years ago and decided to make one, show you how it works, and give you a few tips on how to make it a little bit better. So let's get to it. So here's a pretty good spot right here where we've got some cleared area, and it's already got some mud and dirt scattered around, so it's not going to be a huge problem as far as starting any kind of a fire that would spread, although everything's still really wet. We've had a lot of rain. So we're going to put it down right here, and I'll bring the camera over and I'll show you what we have. All of the items that we'll be using today fit very nicely into this homemade haversack that I made out of a pair of insulated Carhartt pants. Just actually some belts from Walmart and some scraps of leather that I hand stitched onto the sides. But inside here we have our frying pan and fire set and all the other things we need for cooking up a couple of eggs. And so we'll set that up here on the ground, and I'll, like I said, I'll show you what that trivet looks like. So in our haversack here, I have a small fire kit, and this is one of my newer fire kits that I've put together, and I may do a review on this at some point, but just give you a little idea of what all I carry in there. And pretty neat little kit. I like the arrangement of it. And it's just a Maxpedition case. We'll use that to start our fire. Then we have the trivet, which we'll get to in just a second. I have an egg carrier, which carries 2 eggs, of course either hard-boiled or uncooked, as is the case with these. I have a metal water bottle just sealed up inside of a plastic bag with an extra paper towel that just keeps it from scratching up my pan and gives me a little extra water. I have a small bit of seasoning here. It's garlic salt, pepper, and regular salt. I have a very small bottle of olive oil. Now, this bottle comes from one of the 5-hour energy drinks. And what's great about this is they're very small. They only hold a couple of ounces, but they are watertight, and so it's super great for carrying liquids in. So just a tip for you, if you're looking for something that's small and compact to carry cooking oil or something else in that you don't want to spill all over your pack, this right here will do the trick. So just another tip for you. I have an MSR folding spatula. And it's very compact, very small, snaps in, and super lightweight. It's made out of a heat-resistant nylon. And then inside here, I just have a frying pan. It's super lightweight. It is made of aluminum, and it does have a non-stick coating, which I know isn't the healthiest for you, but I bought this. I left a sticker on it. I think you can see that. I bought this at secondhand store for 99 cents. And the great thing about this pan is it only weighs 8.8 ounces. So not even 9 ounces. That's pretty awesome for a 10-inch frying pan. So in this bag I have the cooking trivet. And I'm going to take it out. I'll show you what it's like, how to put it together. So for this cooking trivet, you just need some strap hinges. These are 4-inch strap hinges, nothing fancy. Got them at the hardware store. You need 3 of them. You also need, if you can see that here, I have a wing nut, a washer, that's a lock washer, and then a small bolt, about a 1-inch bolt or so. All you do is you put the bolt through the hole of one end, put the lock washer on there, and then the wing nut, and tighten it down. So you don't have to make this super tight, but basically what you have then is you want it tight enough so that it kind of holds it. But this is what it looks like. You can see I still have the stickers on here. And what you do is you put it on in such a way that when you fold this down, it's against the hinge so it can't spin anymore. You do that to all three of these, and then you open it up to a triangle, just like this. You plant that in the ground over your fire. Now, one thing is important to note, that this is metal and it's slippery, and so one thing that I did is I took a belt sander to this and then the Dremel tool, and I added some divots across each one of these, which helps scratch it up and make a little bit more of a surface where it won't slide around so much. And of course, when you want to put this up, you simply fold it, swing it together, and there's a trick to doing this, by the way. So you want to make sure that you put it together by whichever one is on the bottom. As you can see how these are arranged, 1, 2, 3. So you put the bottom one up first, middle one second, and then the third one like that. And it goes pretty flat. So that's kind of neat. Now, one other thing about this cooking trivet is you want to understand that your pot or pan needs to be big enough to cover over top of these outer sections here, because we have this bolt sticking up in the middle. Now, we do have the wing nut on the bottom, but this still, if you tried to set a small pot on it, it would rock and could tilt and fall over. So again, for frying pan, larger pots, this is perfect. And it doesn't weigh a whole lot. I weighed it. It weighs 9.8 ounces, so less than 10 ounces. That's a pretty good weight for carrying something that is this handy. Alright, let's get a fire started and get it going. Show you how it works. One of the things that I have in abundance on my property is I have a lot of super flat rocks. I mean, they're literally not very thick at all, and they're perfect for building traps and things like that. It also makes a really great fire base, and I'm right next to the creek here. You can probably hear it running in the background. So this is just an excellent option here to keep my fire level. And so we've collected a bunch of twigs and sticks, and so let's go ahead and get started getting this fire going. So I'm going to use this fat rope stick that you've seen me use before. If you're interested in this fire starter, it is the I could put a link to the video up here, and where I demonstrate this. I think it may be the world's greatest fire starter. It is pretty awesome. And the knife I'm using is the little Otzi made by Condor. Easier if you do this against a stump or a log, but I'm trying not to bang my knife up on the rock. It's the only bad thing about using a rock as a platform. Alright, that should be plenty right there. Probably actually more than enough. Get our fire going. Alright, there we go. Pull this in here together. Alright, once our fire gets up to a good level there, we'll go ahead and add a little bit more. And we've got some larger sticks over here. something else that I want you to notice about this is galvanized. Now, for those of you who don't know, but galvanization, when it gets hot and you put it in a fire, it lets off toxic or noxious gases. So one of the things that we want to do before we start cooking on this is we want to put this in the fire and let it go ahead and burn and blacken this so that it's not all shiny and pretty anymore. And we'll go ahead and just pile wood around it because we want it to go ahead and burn and get all that galvanized off of there. We're also going to make sure we stay upwind from the smoke. I don't want to be smelling any of that, obviously. Now all I'm doing is just putting this in around the inside and on the top to encourage the burn all the way around so that we get a good heat and clean off all this, burn off all the galvanization. And this is a very important step. You really do want to do this. And as you can see, we are doing a pretty good job burning off a lot of that galvanization and getting a good bed of coals built in around it. That's another advantage to doing it this way. Okay, so now that we've got it pretty well burnt, I'm just going to scrape off the coals here off the top and make sure we have a pretty good bed underneath it here. One thing, of course, you always want to make sure that you keep your legs in to the right length so it forms a fairly sturdy platform. Now you can jam this in the ground, of course, if you don't have a rock for it to set on, but this right here will work quite well, and we just want to keep a good steady heat. Now obviously you all know, told you many times, that you cook over coals, you don't cook over flame. So this is an excellent bed right here to begin our fire, or to begin our cooking on. So first of all, we want to get our spatula unfolded, blow some of the ashes out of our cooking area there. You can see the size of the pan. See how it sits on top very well. And we're just going to take our little bottle of oil here and pour some in here. Alright, that's pretty good. Take the spatula, make sure we get it stirred around real good so we have it covered. Even though this is a non-stick pan, we still want to make sure that the eggs don't burn too much. All right, put that right there. Open the egg container. 2 eggs. There's 1. And there's 2. All right. Now let's set it up on top here and let it do its thing. As you can see, it's working quite well. And we've got our eggs cooking up. Here's what the trivet looks like from the bottom. Doing real well. Alright, doing good. Back over the heat. Now the stove wasn't perfectly level, so that's why the eggs kind of slid down to one side. Of course, that's the nice thing about a rock. You can level it up fairly easily. So this little cooking trivet is very easy to make, and not very expensive, and pretty much available to anybody around the world, no matter what your budget is. You can usually either make one from new parts, or you could search through a scrapyard or a junkyard and you could probably find some 4-inch strap hinges. But yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good deal. A little bit of hot grease there. This is also really great if you have a larger group. Of course, just meat out here today on our property. But if you want to fry a bunch of eggs, if you like bacon, you're doing that, or anything else you want to cook, just a cheap second-hand frying pan and some strap hinges, a bolt, wing nut, and a lock washer. Of course, before we're done, I'm going to put a little bit of pepper on it. And a little bit of garlic salt. There we go. Alright. Get back over there. And I believe it's probably about ready to eat. Oh yeah. There you go. Just perfect. All right. Bon appetit. Didn't bring a fork or a spoon. Just a spatula is all we need. Again, simple is best. Just out for a little bit of a walk and demonstration. That's good. Really good. Alright, so trivet is doing well, and just sitting here burning away. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift it up here, and we'll set it over here where it can cool down on the rock. Go ahead and unfold it so it can cool down a little bit. There we go. And then, of course, the nice thing about bringing a paper towel or something like that with you is it really assists in cleaning up any of the extra grease, dirt, so you don't have to pack that back into your kit on the way home. And I like to wipe it up, of course. Now I've got a creek close to me right here, and I could use the water if I wish, but don't really have to clean this out. And I can wait till I get back to the house to properly clean this out. But this will do a good, decent wash down of all the grease and the extra stuff. The bottom of the pan isn't that well scorched. You can still see the sticker on the bottom. So that's actually kind of funny. And then, alright, just take and wipe our spatula down a little bit here. Get a lot of the grease off of it. Alright, that's pretty good. And we'll just put it in the fire and let it burn. And fold it back up and start packing things away. And when this is cooled down sufficiently, we'll put it up. So we use the plastic bag that we had earlier, put our spatula and eggshells in it. We can also, if we wish, Go ahead and put the metal bottle back in there, again just to protect our pan. No big deal. It's a little egg on it, it's not going to hurt anything. Seal that up. At least close it. And then moving everything out here. Just this pan slides down inside here quite easily. The handle to one side. And then we just start putting our empty containers, eggs, water bottle down in here. The fire kit right here on the top. And then something that's very important for this trivet, which is still pretty hot, but you need to put it in a bag. That way you don't get soot all over your container. After it's cooled down sufficiently, then we'll fold it up. Right now it's still pretty hot. Alright, well, the trivet has cooled down sufficiently, and so again, following the principle that I showed you before, starting with the lowest to the middle to the highest, just fold it like this one, and then that one. Overlays quite nicely, and then we simply put it inside the bag, and there we have our actually very small and pretty lightweight trivet stove. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure and check out the links in the description box below. And don't forget to press the bell button to stay notified of all of our upcoming videos. We'll talk to you next time.